Using transformations, lesson 21 notes, example number 3. What sequence of transformations can be used to show that rectangle ABCD is congruent to rectangle A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, D double prime? All right, the key word here is congruent. So go ahead and highlight that. Because they are congruent, we know that there was not a dilation. Because they're congruent, we know it's not a dilation. So it has to be rigid motions, which remember is translation, reflection, and rotation. It's got to be two of those three. It could be a reflection and then a translation. It could be a reflection and a rotation. Or it could be a rotation and a translation. Or a rotation and reflection, so forth. Okay, you get the idea. Anyway, to figure out what it is, let's start by looking at the orientation. Well, let's look at AB. So AB is this direction, but A double prime, B double prime is going that direction. So if you look at those, is that the exact same orientation? No. Is it opposite orientation? No. It's completely different orientation. And if it's different orientation, that means a rotation occurred. So now that we know that it rotated, we need to see, did it rotate 90 degrees clockwise? Did it rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise? Well, if it rotated clockwise, then these letters would be on top. We would have A and D up top. But if you look at our double prime figure, the AD is on the bottom. So it didn't rotate that direction. If it rotated 90 degrees this direction, then the AD would be on the bottom. Do we want AD on the bottom? We sure do. Okay, so from the orientation, we know that there was a 90 degrees, and this direction is counterclockwise. So from the orientation, there is a 90 degrees counterclockwise. And remember, 90 degrees counterclockwise is the same thing as 270 degrees clockwise rotation. Okay, so a 90 degree clockwise, 90 degree counterclockwise, 270 clockwise rotation looks like this. Negative y, x. Negative yx. So our rotation looks like negative yx. So what I would like you to do now is I want you to write down exactly what I have written down here, because we're going to find A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime using negative y, x, that 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation. Pause your video, get your original figures or your original points written down, and then your A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime written down. Okay, so I'm taking the opposite of my y-coordinates. I'm taking the opposite of my y-coordinates. So the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. The opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Now, I'm going to keep my x-coordinates the same. So I've got negative 7, negative 2, negative 2, negative 7. Okay, so now we know where the prime figure is located. So we're going to plot these points, connect the points, and label it. So 1, negative 7 would be right here. 1, negative 2 would be here. 4, negative 2, and 4, negative 7. Gonna make this point a little smaller. Okay, so now let's connect our points. So 1, negative 7 would be A prime. 1, negative 2 would be B prime. 4, negative 2 would be C prime. And 4, negative 7 would be D prime. Go ahead. Make sure you're using straight lines and label it properly. Pause your video to do so. Okay, so now we know where A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is located. Now we have to figure out, how did the figure go from here to there? Well, it has the exact same orientation. The exact same orientation would be a translation. The exact same orientation would be a translation. So let's use D prime and D double prime to figure out what our translation is. So first, the figure went to the right. How many units to the right did it move? It moved 4 units to the right. Then the figure translated upward. How many units upward did it translate? 9. So, what was the sequence of transformations that occurred to go from A, B, C, D to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, D double prime? First, there was a 90 degrees counterclockwise or 270 clockwise rotation, followed by a translation of 4 units to the right and 9 units up. Again, a 90 degrees counterclockwise or 270 degree clockwise rotation about the origin. It rotated about the origin, followed by a translation of 4 units to the right and 9 units up. Go ahead, pause your video, get the rest of that written down. If you have any questions on example number 3, please let me know. Guys, I know these are not easy problems, and I get that. It'd be easier if we were in class, but we're not. So if you have any questions, please let me know.